Hello ma'am, hello everyone, hello classmates. So, my topic is all about later language acquisition. So, here is a quote. I didn't know at first that there were two languages in Canada. I just thought that there was one way to speak to my father and another to talk to my mother. So, this is a quote by Louis Saint Laurent. So, this quote by Louis Saint Laurent, a former Prime Minister of Canada, underscores the deeply personal experience of bilingualism within a multicultural society. So, somehow, related, ginigapon siya sa ako ni report kay about niya siya sa later language acquisition. So, may ara sa So, meron siya sa may matakel karon about bilingualism. So, in introduction, in recent years, later acquisitions by the child and in fact, language development through the lifespan have become increasingly popular topics of study. So, in this chapter, we will discuss about children's later language acquisition, roughly corresponding to the developments in the late preschool and early school years. So, here are some examples. A sample of one child's utterance. So, hindi ko sure if sa age bracket yun siya. So ang example is hi daddy. So sa ano ni siya, sa di lang ko sure kung 2 years and 1 month old ba ni siya. And then second example is I eating. Ang third example is what? And last example is Daddy, I missed you. So, meara niya siya sa mga siguro, meara niya siya sa required or ano din niya nga age na maka-utter ang bata sang amuni. And next is later grammar. So, in later grammar, there is a grammatical morphemes and are conspicuously absent in children's early word combinations. So, children initially use word order to convey meaning, even those children acquiring highly inflected languages. So, Brown, 1973, notes that these morphemes, like an intricate sort of ivy, begin to grow up between and upon the major construction blocks, the nouns and verbs. So, it takes children years to fully acquire the morphology of their language. So, like for example, sa example ko kaina tong sa age bracket sang bata, ang mga may mali pa siya nga pag mali ang the way pag-construct niya sa iyang sentence or iyang hambal. So, ang magiging hambal nga, it takes children years to fully acquire nila ang morphology sang ilang language. So, ang grammatical morpheme is ano siya, a word or word part that expresses grammatical concepts, so such as tense, plural, or possession without having meaning by itself. So, ang example sini is ng mga supon niya gihapon nga word. Like for example, ang S sa dogs, ang ED sa worked, tapos sa ang ing in running. So, hindi pa rin siya malaan sang sang mga bata na about running, or for example ng mga ng mga sugpon sa mga saktong ay tama nga form kag sugpon sang word para magtama ang imo nga sentence. So the next slide is semantic complexity. So semantic complexity is also called conceptual complexity. Refers to the complexity of the ideas expressed, whereas syntactic complexity, and also called formal complexity, refers to the complexity of the expressions used to convey ideas. So semantic complexity often refers to the cognitive effort required to process meanings in sentence, especially when they involve ambiguity, layered meanings, or relationship between ideas. So, ang mga examples ng semantically complex sentence within this field. So, the speaker intended the sentence to be understood figuratively, but the listener processed it literally. So, leading to a misunderstanding that required additional contextual cues to resolve. So, amo ni nga sentence naga-demonstrate siya sang semantic complexity kay naga-include siya sang abstract psychological process like intended meaning siya, literal process and figurative understanding. So it requires the readers to understand how miscommunication arises from differences in semantic interpretation. So, may isa po ko ka-example sa may involve siyang ambiguity. So, word like run can have different meanings in context. So, such as ng paint running, or a person is running. So, depende siya sa context gid. Nakadepende sa context ang word nga run. Kaya damo siya sang pwede kuan nga kung for example run ang paint or ang person ang run. So, na siya. Depende sa context gihapon. So, next is ang syntactic complexity. So, ang syntactic complexity nag-refer siya sa structural intricacy of a sentence, which can influence how difficult it is for the brain to parse and comprehend. So, sentences with multiple clauses, embedded structures, or less common grammatical constructions are examples of syntactic complexity. So, ang example niya is the researcher who had been analyzing the participants' response for weeks concluded that the ambiguous phrasing of the questionnaire might have influenced the results more significantly than initially anticipated. So, ang sentence nga niya syntactically complex siya. Kay ang is ang subordinate clause niya is the relative ang relative clause niya is who had been analyzing the participants' response for weeks, is embedded siya within the main clause. So, long noun na po dire, long noun phrases is phrases. Ang example ng phrase is the ambiguous phrasing of the questionnaire. Tapos, mag-add siya sang length and complexity sa sentence structure. So, sa passive constructions naman is might have influence, requires more cognitive effort to interpret compared to simpler active voice constructions. So, Syntactic complexity is a key focus in psycholinguistics when studying sentence processing, working memory, and language development. So, for example, niya sini is tasks that require parsing sentences with embedded clauses, like, for example niya is the girl kissed, ran away. So, ang used to assess syntactic comprehension and processing. So, next is productivity in morphology. So, Berko found that preschool and first grade children showed productive control of several grammatical morphemes, plural and possessive inflections for nouns, progressive past tense, and third person present tense for verbs. So, according niya siya kay Berko, mas productive daw ang preschool kag first grade children daw. Mas productive daw sila to control pag-abot sa control of several grammatical morphemes. So, kabalo sila magamit sang plural, possessive inflection for nouns, progressive past tense, and third person present tense for verbs. So, here is a example of items used to test for the plural morpheme in Berko's study based on the children's learning of English morphology. So, ano siya? This is a wog. Now, there is another one. There are two of them. So, there are two. So, may siya sa there are two wog. So, una yung example niya nga plural morpheme. Ang example niya sa iya nga study. So, next is over-regularization. So, an over-regularization is the child's use of a regular morpheme in a word that is irregular, such as the past tense morpheme in break and goad. So, the acquisition of irregular verbs typically goes through 3 stages. So, ang first stage is the child uses the word correctly. So, this second is the child regularizes the word. So, third, the irregular form reappears. So, it appears that the children analyze linguistic forms that were previously unanalyzed. So, sa diri, though hindi mali ang paggamit niya sang morpheme na over-regularization, doon na sobrahan siya kagamit to the point nga mali na ang word or ang sentence. So, next is later syntactic development. So, negation. Although young children clearly understand the concept of negation, mastery of the negative sentence structure comes relatively late for most children. So, this is primarily because the syntactic structures that most be acquired are rather complex. So, for example, consider the negative sentence. So, ari siya, I won't be coming for dinner on Friday. In comparison with the affirmative, this negative involves the introduction of a new element that will not, as well as the contraction of this phrase into won't. Na kumbaga, daw balikawat siya I won't be coming for dinner on kumbaga, ang dapat sini is dapat I will not be coming for dinner on Friday. Instead, ang gihimo niya as contraction, ang contraction of this phrase kay gikuan niya, i-change niya into won't. So, ano siya, mali ang paggamit sang kumbaga doon nag-negative siya, nag-negative ning sentence tungod sa will not kag won't. So a complex sentence is one that expresses more than one preposition. So, nagka-contain siya ang complex sentence is nagka-contain siya sa independent clause, kag at least may ara siya sang isang dependent clause. So, ano siya? Example, because he was late again, he would be docked he would be docked a day's pay. So, sa aring example is ang dependent clause begins with the subordinating conjunction nga because and is separated from the independent clause by a comma. So, dependent clause ni siya. Tapos, sa second example sa independent clause kay although Denise had some doubts, she found the courses very useful. So in this example, ang independent clause ang nagauna, followed by dependent clause. So ang sa kaina is ang dependent clause ang una, tapos independent clause naman ang sunod. So, next is passive sentences. Passive sentences convey a single idea in linguistically complex form. So, ang example niya is, a meal is being cooked by me. So, the active voice for this sentence is, I am cooking a meal. So, what? Ang second is, the sweater was worn by them. So, ang active voice sa amo nga sentence is they wore a sweater. So, a coordination. Coordination is a construction in which two simple sentences are conjoined as in sentences number 16 and 17. So, Jill loved rock and Sally loved jazz. So, ang dalawa ka simple sentence, di-combine siya para maghimo siya nga isa ka sentence. Ang na example sa coordination. And second is, Hal will bring his wife or she will come in a separate car. So, amo na siya. So, next is a complement is a noun phrase that includes a verb. So, the phrase to go home in sentence 21 is a complement. So, ano diri siya, ang sentence is I want to go home. So, next. So, dito sa cross-linguistic differences in later grammar. So, Slobin, 1982 and 1985 suggest that cross-linguistic studies enable us to explore both universal particular aspects of language. So, for example niya is, the tendency of English-speaking children to place negative markers at the beginning or end of phrases appears to be a widespread property. Where possible, children move negative elements, preferring to leave verb forms and word order intact. So, similarly, children's acquisition of certain expressions related to location seems to be universal. So, Johnston and Slobin, 1979, examined that the acquisition of the locative expression in, on, under, beside, between, front and back in children between 2 and 5 years old. So, ning mga ano na sa according kay Johnston kay Slovin. So between 2 and 5 years old amo nang ano ang mga bata nga kabalo na sila magamit sining locative expressions ng in, on, under, beside, between, front, and back. So kabalo na ni sila magbutang or mag-arrange sa sentence. So next is metalinguistics and discourse. So the emergence of linguistic awareness. So we are scarcely aware of most of the grammatical rules of our language and processing strategies that we use to comprehend and produce speech. So we have some awareness of linguistic units, though, which appears when we attempt to analyze and dissect language, to reflect on it in short, when we think about language rather than merely use it. So the distinction between the ability to use language and the ability to analyze it is significant and is described well by Kasdan 1976. So next is metalinguistic awareness skills. So metalinguistic awareness skills may be different than that of the primary linguistic skills of speaking and listening, as Kasdan last sentence implies. So, ang metalinguistic skills are most surely acquired later than the corresponding primary skills that provide the raw data for linguistic analysis. So, let us begin by tracing some of the child's achievement in this area and then assess its significance for language development. So, researchers, as we have seen, have attempted to identify the child's grammatical system for expressing meanings by examining the types of utterances children make at various ages. So, a fundamental limitation of this method is that there is no direct way of determining what types of utterances a child might consider to be ungrammatical at a given age. So, wala siya sang hambal diri, wala siya sang direct way sa pag-determine sang ano nga type sang utterances ang utter sang bata nga might consider the ungrammatical at a given age. So wala nagaano diri nga if ano ang kumbaga nung wala nang gina-consider nga ungrammatical nang mali ang pag-construct sang bata sang sentence or sang ilang grammar. Wala nagamatter sa ila basta ma-utter nila or kumbaga do umtog yapon ang ang mga mabatian nila, ma-acquire nila sa palibot or sa family. Amo na siya. So next is discourse processes in children. So ang narrative skills narrative skills is their ability to tell a coherent story. So, ang narrative skills for example, nang nadusmo ang bata. So, ako nadusmo ang bata, nang ano na siya. Hindi siya mahambal nga proper nga paggamit sang mga words. Pero ano siya nang related yapon siya sa natabo sa iya nga nadusmo siya. Kumbaga daw hindi niya hindi mahambal pod nga direct gid nga hindi siya mahambal nga tama gid ang iya nga na-narrate pero coherent siya yapon didto sa natabo sa iya. This is conversational skills. So involves a number of implicit rules related to taking turns, sharing conversational topics, taking the listener's need into account, and formulating requests in a socially appropriate manner. So let us see how the child masters each of this. So involved siya nga conversational skills na is, for example, taking turns, no? taking turns is, daw kabalo sila mag-timing kung ano ang pagsabat, ang sequence, ang pagsabat. Like, for example, ako, nagkastorya ko, tapos siya gapamati. Tapos, kabalo niya, kung diin siya nga part, kabalo siyang bata, sabat, ay, kabalo siya kundi siya nga part, magsabat, or mag-answer sa pamangkot. So, muna siya. So, second is referential communication task. So, task is one in which a speaker must formulate a message to refer an object or picture as opposed to communicating to the speaker's ideas, needs, or emotion. So, ang referential communication task is kumbaga daw may refer to an object or picture. So, gina-example niya sini is kumbaga may ibuot siya ipaano sa imo, may ibuot siya ihambal or kuan nga hindi niya dumadirect daw, hindi niya madirect ba. So gina-refer niya sa may ara siya ipakita nga example like or object or picture para para makag-communicate siya sang tarong. So, third is narrative skills. So, children are gaining skills at holding a conversation. So, they also developing the ability to tell a good story. Narratives emerge out of conversations. Polanyi, 1989, and suspend the ordinary rules of conversation, taking turn for the time being. So, ayan, children, nag-gain siya sang skills na mag-hold or initiate siya sa isang conversation. So, kabalo siya. Good, daw, kabalo na siya magkuan sang hold sang conversation. So, next is classroom discourse. So, sa language in the school, meron siya sang classroom discourse. So, classroom discourse has several distinguishing characteristics. So, one is that the language of the classroom is decontextualized. So, according to Cook, Gumpers, 1982. So, decontextualize. So, decontextualize interpretation of language or words without relying on situational, social, and contextual cues. So, it involves understanding the intrinsic and dictionary meanings of words, phrases, or sentences in isolation, divorced from the communicative setting in which they might be used. So, ang decontextualization is ang interpretation ng language or words, wala siya nag-rely sa situation, kag sa social or contextual cues. Next is contextualized language. So, in most communicative situations outside formal education, there is a close relationship between utterances of conversational participants and the immediate context. So, this is known as contextualized language. So, next is initiation, reply, evaluation, sequence. So, one form of this course that enables teachers to assess students in learning is the initiation, reply, evaluation sequence. So, in which teacher poses a question to a student, receives a reply, and then evaluates the student's answer. So, Mehan, 1979. Children are unlikely to have much experience with this type of discourse outside school. So tama gid man ni siya, initiation, reply, evaluation. So, in with teacher, maghatag ang teacher sang question, then mag-initiate, mag-receive ang students, no? So, mag-initiate na siya. Kung baga do isipon niya if ano ang initiate niya na, kung baga do i-process niya. Then, tapos, ang reply niya diri is ang ang answer niya dito sa question. Tapos, ang evaluate niya na, kung baga do ng answer ba, namba niya ng answer. So, i-correct na siya sa teacher. So, amo na siyang sequence ang initiation, reply, evaluation sequence. So, ano na. The next is acquiring classroom skills. So, examine how children are requests for information and action during group and reading assignments. According siya kay Wilkinson and Calculator, 1982, and Wilkinson and Clevenger and Dologan, 1981. Siya acquiring classroom skills kay paano ang bata mag-request sa information and action during sa classroom. Kumbaga doon mag-acquire sila ng mamangkot sila sa teacher, request mamangkot kung paano ba ni or paano ni siya imuon, amo na acquiring classroom skills. So, next is reading and language development. So, phonological awareness and reading. So, ano siyang skills that is specific to reading is the task of linking printed letters, often called graphemes, to phonemes. So, in addition, the child must learn some graphemes are pronounced in ways that are difficult to anticipate, such as phoneme. So, moreover, the young reader will have to confront words with silent letters, such as house. So, ang mga bata sini through printed letters to phoneme. So, baga, kung makita mo tong chart, like tong ABCD. So, ang mga bata, confuse sila kay syempre kung di sila kabalo. So, dapat ang printed letters gid siya kumbaga do i-interpret gid siya sa phonemes by sounds. So, next is top-down and bottom-up process. So, top-down and bottom-up process is a result of these metalinguistic problems. Children often find it difficult to identify printed words. So, one strategy of overcoming this problem is to encourage children to use the sentence context to help figure out the meaning. So, for instance, a child who is stuck on the last word of a sentence may be asked to figure out a likely ending to the sentence by generating possible words. So, ang example naman sini is kumbaga may ma-encounter nga bag-o nga word ang bata. So may tendency gid na nga ano siya kumbaga do i-analyze niya ba ang context sang sentence or ang context ng sentence para ma-identify niya tong word nga bag-o sa iya kung paano magbasa kumbaga do ano ang iya nga meaning. So next is bilingualism and second language acquisition. So last na ni siyang slide. So simultaneous bilingualism is children acquire 2 languages at the same time. Their bilingualism is referred to as simultaneous bilingualism. So, simultaneous bilingualism is when children ma-acquire sang bata ang 2 languages at the same time. For example, like sa diri sa Pilipinas, no? Kay Ilongga man ko. So, tapos ang kwanta kay Tagalog man ang atong gid nga pabansang salita gid kay Tagalog gid man ang pabansang language ta is Tagalog. So amo na ang example sang simultaneous bilingualism. So ang second is sequential bilingualism. So occurs when an individual, for example child or adult, acquires a second language after already acquiring a native language. So ano siya? Sa sequential bilingualism is, for example, ako, Ilongga ko, pero hindi ko pa, muna ng native language ko. Tapos, ang pag-acquire ko sinisang akon nga second language, kumbaga kay do, dugay pa. Nang kumbaga, for example, gamay pa ko, native language ko is Ilonggo. Tapos, kumbaga, as time goes by, nga kuhan, kay syempre, nag-learn. So, kabalo na ko mag-Tagalog. For example, amo na ang ako nga second language. Kay hawod ko dara nga language yapon. Na-acquire mo man pod na siya. Na-acquire mo pod na sa palibot or sa sa society or sa family ana. Ma-consider mo gid yapon na siya nga second language mo. Nang kung maglakad ka sa ibang lugar, amo na nilang language, may native language ka nga na tapos na-acquire mo na naman to, kaya nagtinir ka dito sa lugay, for example, amo na. So, second is second language acquisition. So, this type of bilingualism is also referred to as second language acquisition. So, most commonly, children learn 2 languages simultaneously. They are born into a community that is bilingual. In some communities, bilingualism is simply expected. So, for example, sa kundiri kay dirisam lang is Ilonggo ay iligay nun ang language. Tapos, diri sa amon nga part, sa amon nga community kay tamo sang Ilocano. So, muna siya ang second language acquisition ko. Amo na second language ko ng aside sa ako nga native language amo ning bilingualism mo referred as second language acquisition. So learn ko siya ang 2 language na simultaneously. Amo na siya nang kumbaga doon amo na nakadak-an mo gid nga language dalawa kay Ilonggo ang mother tongue, tapos ang native language, tapos ang language sang community is Ilocano. So, na siya. So, according nga sa according kay Bialisto 2001. So, according sa iya, ang bilingualism daw is simply expected gid daw siya. So, that would be all for today. Thank you for listening.